is Mia Dirks, and welcome back to the 4th episode of Smile, You're on Camera. It is so nice to see you joining us here again tonight. I am still so grateful to be with you here all tonight and to go on another learning journey together. Tonight, we're bringing a whole different perspective to the WTOP studio. For the past few episodes, I've introduced students across campus with different majors, different skills, and different involvements. This week, however, I really wanted to switch things up and bring someone with a very new perspective onto the show. If you've tuned into a past episode, you may have an idea of who I'm talking about. So enough with the suspense, let's introduce our guest for tonight. I'm so honored to introduce Professor Stephanie Pritchard onto Smile this week. So everyone meet Stephanie, and Stephanie meet everyone.
Hi!
Any first thoughts on being here in the studio tonight?
I'm just so excited that you asked me to come in, and I think it's an awesome opportunity for me to talk with you like in this way, outside of the classroom.
Yeah, I'm so excited to do this episode together. It's going to be awesome. So last spring, I decided to go outside of my comfort zone and ended up registering for an introductory poetry class taught by Stephanie. At first, I was a little bit hesitant about my own writing skills and whether I could be successful in the class, but over time, I really came to love poetry and creative writing as a whole. This semester, I'm enrolled in intermediate poetry writing, and it's been a seriously rewarding experience. So, Professor, without spoiling too much before your video, can you give us a short intro about you and some of the roles here you have at SUNY Oswego?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a visiting assistant professor in the English and Creative Writing department. I'm also the director of something that's called the Creativity Lab, which is like a digital storytelling class, and I'm assistant director of writing across the curriculum. So those are some of the different hats that I wear.
Yeah, it seems like you're juggling a lot. I know you're always busy, but it's so great to see how many different involvements you're a part of.
Yeah, it's good. It's busy, but it's, again, like being involved in things that are happening in the classroom, but also outside of the classroom.
Awesome. I think that's a great balance. Thanks for giving us a hint at what a day in your life looks like. I think it's been really interesting to see what happens in a professor's day personally while I was editing the video, and I think you all at home will enjoy it too. So without further ado, let's take a look into a day in Stephanie's life.
Good morning. Welcome to Wednesday. We're getting ready to get the day started. So in a few minutes, my daughter's gonna get up. We'll get breakfast together and do all of those kinds of things. I just finished making my breakfast, which is yogurt and granola and fruit. And we're gonna get ourselves together, get on the bus, get ready to start things. Here we go. All right, so got the kids on the bus, got all our stuff in the car, and I just came over to my daughter's grandma's house to drop off her soccer stuff because she has her first soccer practice today. So from here, I'm gonna go to work. And it's about 8:45, so I have about 15 minutes to get to work, and then I'm gonna teach my first class and then get into the rest of it. So I'm gonna make my to-do list for the day, which is something that I started doing probably like 1.5 or 2 years ago. And I'll take a picture of that so that you can see it. So here we go, off to work in the rain. Another beautiful Central New York morning. Talk to you soon. Hello, welcome back. It's almost 11:30, so far I got to work and I taught my first class, and then I just had a meeting. I've been kind of dealing with email in between those things and some other kind of like random stuff here and there too. So I'm getting ready to go teach intermediate poetry writing, and then I'll teach English 102 and then have lunch during another meeting. Busy Wednesday, we are almost halfway there. I'll check back in a little bit. All right, holy cow, it's been a day. It's a little bit before 5, and I just finished meeting with the last of my students during some office hours. I think since I last checked in, I taught my other 2 classes, had another meeting. I ended up having to have lunch like during that meeting because it was such a busy day. And then after that meeting, I went to Penfield to run a workshop for EOP students about writing in MLA style. So I did that. I came back here and had some more office hours, and getting ready to leave campus for the day. Like I said, it's just before 5 o'clock. Now it's time for me to change my clothes and head to the YMCA. So I will check in when I get to the Y so that you can see it and take a short video, and then I'm gonna teach my group exercise class. So I'll see you in a couple of minutes. Here we go. All right, so I'm at the Y. It's this big building right here. Looks like a castle, even has a big tower. And I come here to teach every Monday and Wednesday. I teach Zumba Tone, which is like a dance class with weights. And then on Thursdays and Saturdays, I teach a class called Strong Nation, which is a it's a HIIT class. So it's like interval training, do burpees and squats and stuff. And I come just to do workouts like a couple of the other days. So here's what the inside of the building looks like. Here's where the cycle rooms are. And that's the gym. And then this is where I bring my daughter a lot to play in the Play and Learn Center. And then there's yoga rooms and other things upstairs. So I'm gonna go teach my class. See you later. All right, so I just got home and I'm being greeted by Copper. That's him right there. And then this is Buddy right here. They're brothers. They are 12 years old. Copper's still in pretty good shape. Buddy is pretty much nearly deaf and also losing his marbles a little bit. But they're good boys, right? Can you come here? Can you come here? And they're beagles, so they have to smell everything. But they're good dogs, right? They're good dogs. Yeah, okay. All right, see you guys later. All right, so it's the end of the day. I got home, played with my daughter for a little while, got all cleaned up and had dinner and whatever else. So she is getting ready to go to bed, which means I'm gonna kind of sit up for a little bit and decompress. My husband and I are watching Arrested Development right now. Very, very easy watching. And while I do that, I'm gonna work on my crochet project. So I'm working on a blanket for my next door neighbor. These are the colors that he wanted. It's like halfway done, so we're getting there. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed kind of like following me through the day today. It was a crazy busy day, but you know, tomorrow I will be working from home. I have a couple of meetings, but mostly it's just grading because I didn't get to do any of that today. So tomorrow I'm gonna hopefully get a little bit more caught up on that, and that'll be that. And it's almost the end of the week. We're almost there. Night.
Wow, that seemed like such a busy day. I mean, I thought my schedule was packed.
That's like it's not every day is like that, but usually like 1 or 2 work days a month, it's like truly insane in that way.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that we all at home were able to see kind of what a day in your life looks like. It was a pretty cool perspective. And after the break, we're gonna take a closer look at some of the things we saw in that video, so make sure to stay tuned.
Say, President Stanley, whenever there's bad weather, who would you turn to?
I'd turn to Storm Team 10.
No, but you've got to say it like this. Storm Team 10. Say it with me. Storm Team 10.
What's going on?
Yeah, we go on at like 11:30. It's like
No. What do you mean no?
It's 10:30.
10:30?
Yeah, it's 10:30.
What do you mean it's 10:30?
Hey, don't touch that. That's my ladder.
Hey, man.
Whoa. You know this book was already discounted 10%?
Wow.
Wow.
Get a close up of that one.
Broadcast news.
Look at that.
Can we go back inside? I want to sleep in the studio again.
Welcome back everyone to Smile, You're on Camera. Thank you for joining us here again. Before the break, we looked at a day in Professor Pritchard's life, and I want to talk more about some of the things we saw there now. So, Stephanie, one of the things we saw in your video was your time at the YMCA. First of all, I have to say that building is great. Like, do you have any idea of the history behind it? Why does it look like a castle?
It's old, but I don't want to like make things up, so I don't know.
Okay, we'll leave it a mystery. We'll come up with some random story and we'll say that it used to be a grand castle of Oswego royalty or something.
That sounds good. Yeah.
Okay, but how long have you been teaching there? It seems like you're a pretty dedicated member. So how long have you been kind of getting into the exercise classes there, and how did you get into it?
So I have been a certified Zumba instructor for 7 years, and I started teaching Strong Nation, which is the high intensity interval training class, 6 years ago. So it's been like quite a while, and before I started teaching Group X classes, I would just kind of go with like one or two friends, to try to like be fit to do something. I had no idea what I was doing. So I just showed up to take Group X classes because it's a really nice way to be held accountable. So I started doing that, and then one of the days, the Zumba instructor who was there looked at me and was like, have you ever thought about like getting certified to teach? Because like you do an okay job at this, and then that was pretty much it. So I've been teaching for the last 7 years, but being a member, I've been a member at the Y for probably about 10 years.
And the fact that you're doing it multiple times a week, it's kind of like you got a long list of classes there. That's like a lot of classes to teach. But how big are the classes usually? Like how many students are involved with them?
That's a good question. It varies week to week. Sometimes, there are some times of the year when everybody's traveling, right? And everybody's kind of like doing things, like the summer, we kind of like go up and down with class sizes. But I'll say like on average, we're anywhere between like 8 and 15 students a class. Like during the most of the time, right? Sometimes it's more and sometimes it's less, but I'll say on average it's about 8 to 15.
I want to give a quick shout out to my aunt, who's coincidentally also named Stephanie, who is also a Zumba instructor. I know she'll be watching this at home later, so quick shout out to her. But I used to be an avid runner in high school. I used to do track and field all the time, and that was all I did was exercise. And I found that the regular exercise is a good way to build, or fitness is a great way to add to your lifestyle and overall mental health, physical health, emotional health, whatever. Do you find those same benefits in your own life, or like how do you think that this adds to your overall life, or why have you continued to do it, I guess?
I think that at this point, if I had not been going to the gym, I probably would have lost my mind. Like at this point, I really think so. And I mean, obviously, like being a creative writing teacher and teaching creative writing, that's a really, really wonderful outlet for stress and things of that nature. But I find for me, going to the gym and becoming like physically exhausted helps my brain stop being so crazy all the time, right? So I think for me, it's something that I have to do, right? Like I can't not do it. And if I can't go to the gym, then I'll work out at home, and there are like a couple of different people who I like to follow online, right? Like that have really good workouts, or I'll make something up, or I'll go for a run, which I don't love to do, but I will do sometimes. So for me, it's just a way to cope with all of the things.
Yeah, I agree. I remember in high school, that was like my favorite thing to do, was just go there and just go to the weight room and go lift some weights and whatever, or run a couple laps around the track for my workout. And I think that it really like helped end my day and forget about all the homework and whatever. And I think hearing your story is kind of motivating to me. I've been meaning to go to the gym, but I think it's motivating to me to kind of get back into that lifestyle a little bit. Do you have a favorite type of like exercise or activity or anything like that, or is it kind of just overall like you like the variations, I guess?
I mean, I'll say like I really like the 2 classes that I teach, right? So I really like the HIIT style class because I think that that's the way that I've been able to really build a lot of muscle and like get stronger, you know, which is really important to me. I think physical strength and feeling strong is something that matters a lot to me. So I like that class a lot. Zumba is just like super, it's like so fun, right? And then the best part about Zumba is you can't take yourself too seriously, which I think for me is sometimes like a reality check, right? Like, because you fall into like this role, like your day-to-day life, right? And you're like, oh, like, I have to go to work and I have to be a teacher and I have to be a mom and like I have to be taken seriously in all of these ways. But like then I can go to the gym and kind of like mess around and be really silly. And like it's grounding, you know what I mean? So I like that very much.
I totally agree. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And obviously another thing we saw in your videos was you're a creative writing professor, or you're an English professor as well. Can you give us a quick recap of some of the classes you teach, or if you want to say, do you have a favorite subject or class to teach?
It's such a hard question.
It's okay if you don't want to.
That's such a hard question. I'll say that, so I teach poetry writing. So I teach introductory poetry writing and intermediate poetry writing. I do teach digital storytelling. And I also teach English composition, or English 102, which is like the first year writing class that lots of people need to take. It like really depends on like who's in the classroom, right? Like who's there. And the reason that I say that is like, I'm sure that you've had like some classes, right, where the dynamic is completely different, right? Like just based on like who's in the room. So like for me, every semester, it's a different favorite class because every semester there are people in the room that make it the favorite class, right? So I can't say just one for that reason.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, I would totally feel the same way if I was in your shoes. My question is, how did you end up teaching here at Oswego? Was this something that was kind of in your end plan, or was it just like a more organic path?
I would say it was definitely more organic. So like even in undergrad, like I had my majors and stuff, but I didn't know that I wanted to go into education. I thought maybe that I would want to do it, basically because I played a lot of teacher when I was like a kid, right? Like had a whiteboard in my bedroom when I was growing up, and I would always be trying to teach my brother all these things. But like when I was in college, I didn't really know that I would be a teacher. So I think I wasn't really sure what else I would do, and I knew that I really liked talking to people, and I knew that I really liked the college environment. Like I felt good here, right? Like for me, undergrad was like an opportunity to really like learn and grow and be like, oh, this is like fun being on a college campus. Like I don't know if I ever really want to leave, right? So I ran into, when I was in grad school for creative writing, I ran into one of my former faculty members from undergrad at a bookstore. We were there like listening to a local author read. And he was like, hey, what are you doing? You know, like what are your plans for after school? And I was like, oh, I really don't know. And he was like, why don't you like, are you in Oswego? And I'm like, yeah, like I'm here for now, you know? So he was like, well, why don't you like apply for a job? Why don't you apply for a job there? And I was like, oh, okay. And that's what happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's also like a little coincidence, and look where you are now.
Yeah,
so.
Like the connections really, it's a big thing.
Were you always passionate about creative writing or poetry and like from childhood on, or was it something that you kind of discovered as you grew up or entered college?
That's a really good question. I've loved reading my entire life, right? I've always been a really avid reader ever from, like a little kid all the way up, right? So, and then when I was, in grade school as a kid, I would dabble in different kinds of creative writing. I wrote a lot of fiction. I wrote a lot of short stories. But then when I came to college, I was like, oh, okay, like I want to major in creative writing. This is the only thing I know how to do. Like people are telling me I'm good at it. And I thought that I would do fiction, but when I got here, I took an intro to poetry writing class, and it completely changed my entire perspective. And I fell in love with poetry, like in that semester, right? Like that was it. Like there was no more fiction. Sorry, and that was just it. So I started out thinking fiction, but then went somewhere else.
While I'm not a creative writing major, I found that me taking the intro to poetry writing like totally opened up my worldview to creative writing, because I've totally enjoyed reading all the new like contemporary poetry, all the little like assignments that you give us in different readings. I think that's been a great way to kind of build on to my overall education. But thank you so much for giving us your insight. It's been like really, really cool to kind of get your new perspective. After the break, we're gonna see what's been going on in your lives at home, so make sure to stick around.
We go on at like 11:30. It's like,
No.
what do you mean no?
It's 10:30.
10:30?
Matt, it's 10:30.
What do you mean it's 10:30?
Hey, don't touch that. That's my ladder.
Hey, man.
Whoa.
You know this book was already discounted 10%?
Wow.
Wow.
Get a closer to that one.
Need to
Matthew.
Broadcast
look
news.
at that.
Can we go back inside? I want to sleep in the studio again.
Up by Crowman, not able to get on it. DeCarlo on the rebound. Alex DeCarlo.
We'll deep dive into our feelings in our Real Talk segment. Stay tuned because it's about to get real.
Hello and welcome back to Smile, You're on Camera. Thank you for sticking around. So now we're going to take a look at some of your snapshots from the last few weeks. If you're new here and would like to submit your own snapshot moment, stay tuned until the end, or I'll let you know how you could be featured on our show next episode. So if we can, let's take a look at the first snapshot now. Oh, okay. So I recently found myself outside of Moreland Hall, and I found this fun little sign it turns out that there's a fallout shelter in there, and I just want to give a quick shout out to Moreland. I don't know, this has kind of been my last week. A silly little moment from there. I don't know. I just think it's so funny that they have a fallout shelter. Like, it kind of screams back to the days of the past when SUNY Oswego was still a thing in the 50s and 60s when this was a thing. I have a question. Do you have a main difference that you've seen from you're an alum here, right?
I am.
Do you have a main difference from when you were here to the times here? I mean, besides like the internet and Brightspace and whatever, do you have like a main difference in like the lifestyle and like, I don't know, being a student here?
I would say so. I was thinking actually, like when you put the picture of Moreland up there, I'm like, have I ever been in that building? Like, so I'm trying to remember, like when I was a student here, there was Mackin, which was like a fancy dining hall. Is that still here?
No, they closed it, but that's been like, I remember when I went on a tour, they were like, the one reason you should come to Oswego is Mackin, and it's never been open. So.
It was like super popular when I was here. I graduated from SUNY Oswego in 2008, so it's been a little while.
So you did have the internet then?
There was the internet, thank you. So like there was the internet, so like this building, the campus center, was built, like my husband graduated in this building. He was the first graduating class to graduate like in the through like the in the ice arena. So he was the first one in 2007, and then I graduated in 2008. So like this building, like it was never here, right?
Yeah.
Like we used to have to like literally walk uphill, like across campus or whatever. And like Shinneman obviously wasn't here either. And there were some other changes too. But there's been so many big architectural changes.
Yeah, I think so. And obviously we have Hewitt undergoing right now, so.
Yes.
if we can, let's look at the next picture now. Fun Moreland times. Okay, so this is a picture submitted from Stephanie Janice. She is on our crew tonight, and this is from Al Roker recently visited campus. I don't know if you saw. He was a professor for a broadcasting class here that was like a selective class, and he actually did a live take of the Today Show out in the Murano Campus Center. So I think that was a really cool moment from the last week.
I think that's awesome. So? Yeah, and like I love that, you know, like Al Roker is obviously one of our like most famous alum, right? But just that like alum come back and like do things with students, right? So like I thought it was amazing that that he's been coming back like pretty much year after year. I think like once a year he visits.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. And here we are in the Al Roker studio too. So he's like a god to the broadcasting students, I would say. But I wish I could get a glimpse of him at some point, but it's still cool to see the pictures and know that we had like a pretty big celebrity here on campus, I would say.
Yeah, one of my former students actually like got to meet him and was like right next to him like in the video. So I can't wait to like hear how it went.
Yeah. I wonder what he's like in real life too. Some of our crew members here know what he's like in real life because they had him as a professor, but I think it would be cool to meet him and be like, Professor Roker. I'm jealous of you guys in the back.
Definitely.
So let's move on to our final photo, if we could. So if you zoom in really close, look really closely here, there's me, our VP of Creative Services, Michelle Ketchin, our music director, Ryan Joyce, and our video editing director, Brian Sacconi. I'm sure the image will come back on screen, but we recently went to a Smash Room as kind of our end of the year creative services bash. Yeah, there you can see us there with our sledgehammers and bats. So I think that was a great way to kind of have some stress relief, and it was really cool. I never really knew the capabilities of it, but we got to like smash glass bottles on a wall and stuff. It was great.
Sounds super fun. I'm definitely planning to like go check something out like that. And actually, I think I was thinking about it. The Children's Museum of Oswego on Bridge Street has like, they are starting to dedicate like a Smash space to like the kiddos.
Oh, cute.
On the second floor of their museum. So I think it's definitely gaining popularity.
I would totally recommend to you guys at home, go there and just spend 20 minutes in there. It'll do good. So it was great to see what everyone's been up to over the last few weeks, and if you want to see your snapshot up on this screen next week, there are a few ways you can showcase your photos. You can DM our Instagram at SmileWTOP10, you can email us at SmileWTOP10@gmail.com, or you can fill out the form linked in our Instagram bio. And I look forward to seeing what you all submit for next time. So thank you again, Stephanie, so much for coming on the show tonight. I really loved learning all about your different involvements and your crazy schedule. I think it was awesome. Any final thoughts about being on the show? Quick thoughts?
I loved it. I thought that this was super fun. And everybody was so friendly. So, you know, definitely. I hope that you get, that you keep doing this.
Awesome. Yeah, welcome to WTOP. And thank you to everyone at home for your continued support of the show, the station, and of all the students working back there behind the camera. I appreciate you guys as always. You guys do amazing work. And next week we will have our season finale, I cannot believe it, with another amazing guest. If I want to give a hint, yeah, she's gonna be awesome. Next episode will definitely be an exciting one, I know it. So I'll see you next week. Thank you, have a great night everyone, and don't forget to smile because you're on camera.